Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the Dil Se series for this weekend, which we're doing with a number of corporates. And today we, of course, have a special guest along with us present at Kanha. But more importantly, we also have a number of youth ambassadors who joined us from universities across the country. And of course, they play an important role in how the workforce and the youth get shaped in our country. So we are looking forward to that interaction when Daaji joins us. While he does, I wanted to just also summarize or share my takeaways from the sessions that have been happening yesterday and also earlier. Particularly, the world is, going through a crisis right now, and a number of people asked a question related to the war yesterday. And what I felt was, and what Daji, of course, shared was that prayer is the most important thing that we have, the most important resource and powerful resource that we have in terms of creating peace in the world. And though it might sound very powerless, but obviously when Daji shares this, I think that it's probably the most underutilized avenue that we have in our lives. So I think that's something that we can, in our own way, contribute and pray and hope that there is peace soon enough. Of course, I'm sure you guys will be tracking the news, and there is a interim ceasefire, but that doesn't mean the war has quite ended. So I hope we can all pray for that to happen very soon. And also, since a number of youth have joined, something that Daji had shared in the earlier weekend session was, the difference between karam and shram, which I also didn't know about. And, karam is when we look at the higher goal and the spiritual path and the more higher spiritual goals that we set for ourselves. Shrama is more related to the goals that we set in our corporate life or in our education or in our more real world or materialistic life, so to say, that we live in. So for me, that distinction was particularly, I would say, enlightening, because while we can surrender in a situation where we have karam goals related to the higher path, obviously in the case of shram, we have to do the hard work to achieve those goals, whether that is doing well in education or getting that promotion that you're looking for. So I've been spending a lot of time thinking about that, and I thought I will also share it with the youth here that if you all want to do well, we just have to put in the hard work and stay focused on our goals. So as we'll wait for Daji to join us as well, and then I'll go ahead and also introduce the important and special guests that we have. But while I do that, we have A.R. Murugadas, who is a renowned film director in Tamil Nadu, and I believe you've been taking regular sittings from our heartfulness trainer, brother Linguswamy. It'll be wonderful to hear from you on your experience, and for how long have you been meditating, sir?
So I think I was started 2020, I think. So it's almost 1.5 years completed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And anything that you'd like to share that was something that sort of stuck out for you ever since you started meditation, or some change or transformation that has taken place, or anything you'd also want to share with the youth since they are here, any motivation, or why should they meditate? Why is it important? How has it contributed to your success?
So last 2 years, I feel very peaceful because we couldn't go out. So because of this meditation, I could manage. Otherwise, it will be very miserable in life. So, and I was very short-tempered before. So I feel very calm and peaceful life now. So I'm going through very tough period. So the meditation is helping me a lot.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think the pandemic has forced us to, in a way, take the inner journey more seriously. I think earlier we were able to distract ourselves and get away and travel and do other things. But when we were isolated, we didn't have much of a choice. And some people enjoyed.
I've never been like that.
Yes. But sorry to hear that you're going through a difficult time. I hope that things normalize and you're able to feel joy and peace very soon.
So thank you, sister.
I'm also going to make sure that this time, unlike yesterday, we stay more on time. Yesterday we had a lot of people joining us from around the world, from the US, also from Thailand, and we had a Abhyasi, heartfulness practitioner also, sharing his experiences because he's from Ukraine. And so obviously, it sort of overshot, but I'm going to make sure we stick to time today. Sister Nivedita, would you like to share people who've joined us from various universities? Just anything that you have?
Sure. So basically, Pragya, we have got today a wonderful bunch of students who are practicing heartfulness meditation very regularly. And these are the students, they are basically youth ambassadors, heartfulness ambassadors from various universities. So I have students from 15 states of India, and more than 200 students have been nominated from various universities and colleges, and 107 colleges are part of today's communication, that is today's webinar. So 107 colleges, all the members, students, I welcome you all to this wonderful Dil Se session with Daaji and Pragya Mishra. And we are very happy to have all of them, and they all are very excited and waiting to ask questions to Daaji.
I can totally imagine. Even though this is the third weekend, I think I always look forward to these 3 hours in a weekend where I can spend this time with Daaji and with all the heartfulness practitioners, listen to the questions. It's made my weekend a lot more exciting and something that I really look forward to, as opposed to just, doing inane things like, maybe just sleeping a lot more or going out for an extra walk or spending some more time with my friends, which is also important and brings balance. But this is really something which is crucial to my own inner journey and my own improvement and transformation. So I actually really look forward to this every weekend. So I can totally imagine that. I hope all the students are equally excited to get this chance to talk to Daaji. And of course we'll do our best to address as many questions as possible. But just the fact that you're here and you've prioritized yourself and your time to be here, I think is a big commitment. So really sort of kudos to all of you to make it here and spend this 1 hour when you could have been doing something else on a Saturday night. So that's amazing. And Sister Nivedita, I just thought if you could maybe shed a little bit more light on the university program that we have, and how are we really proliferating heartfulness as a practice amongst our youth, because they are really the future of the country. So maybe if you could share a little bit about that, would be really great.
Yeah. So I think we as Heartful Campus, we are spread across 28 states all over India, and we have got around 68 MOUs done with various universities all over India. We have more than 2.5 lakh students covered so far under the Heartful Campus programs, and more than 20,000 faculty members have undergone the Heartful Campus Teachers Training Program. So I think our volunteers are doing wonderful job. It's just a program. We just started maybe 1.5, 2 years ago, and already we have covered 2.5 lakh and more students. Our volunteers, our trainers, our faculty members are doing excellent job, and they're trying to reach to each and every university, and demand is very high. I mean, every university, every college is asking to conduct the Heartful Campus because it is one of the requirements for the NAC and NB accreditation for every college. It comes under internal quality assurance cell, which shows that the college is doing quality activities for the students. So that's a quality assurance activity which the university and colleges do for their students. So it has become one of the requirements for the university as per the UGC and AICT norms. And I'm very happy to say that today we also have a very special guest, Dr. Anil Sarsour, one of the dynamic personalities in the field of education, will be joining us for this session. So I think we look forward for this interaction today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all the numbers that you shared are so encouraging. And I know you and your team are really putting your hard work behind taking this to every possible college and university in the country, which is massive. And if you're able to reach those numbers, I think we'll be able to help achieve Daji's vision for heartfulness, which is being able to touch every household around the world. So, congratulations for all the incredible work that you've been doing. And of course, I think, like I've been saying, youth is really the future. And if they understand the importance of meditation, I think we'll just be a far better society. I know Daji for the last few weekends has been talking a lot about feeling connected and being
Yes.
more collaborative in our approach as opposed to being competitive. He spoke about doing the extra effort that we can at an individual level and not thinking that somebody else is, in a way that we need to compete with them. Instead, if we can all together increase the pie and grow together, we'll be in a far better place when it comes to just society, or even as individuals, or even in our own families, in our own personal world, and also in amongst corporate teams, where we think of everyone and not just whether I'm going to get a promotion or not. It's more about, is the team growing or not? Is everyone who's interacting with me learning and growing or not? So I'm sure all of your incredible efforts are going to really pay off, and I'm sure the interaction that
Yeah.
we have with the youth. Please go ahead.
And the youth, I mean, the youth volunteers of Heartfulness are working for the youth upliftment. I mean, we have more than 2,000 youth who are from all over India working in this direction to apply Heartful campus programs all over the universities. And that's a very good positive news for all of us. So I think Daaji has already joined, and we welcome Dr. Anil Sarsour, sir. He's already here, the chairman of AICTE. So welcome, Pranam.
Namaste, namaskar to everyone.
Namaste, good evening, sir. Welcome to the show. I hope you're enjoying the serene environment of Kanha.
Yes, indeed. I have been enjoying Kanha entire ambience since yesterday late night till now.
That's great. So as you must be aware, we have Sister Nivedita, who leads our University Connect program, and we have a lot of youth ambassadors who've joined us. Pranam, Daaji.
Namaste, everyone.
Pranam, Daaji. So as I was saying, we have a number of students from across the country who've joined us. So that's going to be a large segment of the show today, where these youth ambassadors would like to pose questions, so to you and of course to Daaji. And I think this is, like I was saying, particularly important because the youth are going to shape the future of the country. So it becomes even more important to address the concerns or questions, or just have a free-flowing discussion on whatever they'd like to share with you. Just before that, I also wanted to introduce to you, Daaji. There's A.R. Murugadas, who is a renowned film director from Tamil Nadu. He's also joined us, and he was sharing his experience of meditating for the last 1.5 years, and how through the pandemic, meditation is something that he's used to lean on to get through this very difficult time. So over to you, sir, if you have a question to ask Daaji.
Namaskar.
So you're on mute. We can't hear you. You might just have to unmute yourself. Yes, please go ahead.
Daaji, namaste, Daaji. I just want to know the karma.
Sorry, we didn't get your question. If you could just complete it.
So sometimes I'm punishing by people who I love the most without any reasons. So shall I take it as a karma or?
Well, it's very complex subject to discuss. Let's analyze small things that happens in our life. See, this today evening's program was to start at 8:30. I came 10 minutes late. Was it the karma of thousands who are waiting here? Or was it my karma? Or was it the karma of Sri Sahasradhar Buddha? Who changed this? Though I wanted to be here sharp at 8:30, but got delayed by 10 more minutes. I mean, these are small things that happens in our life. And when we analyze it, what triggered it? Despite of your best intentions, you could not fulfill the time. Likewise, despite of our best intentions, we are not able to fulfill the desires and expectations of others. Because there are many influencers in our life. Just about, I was getting into the car to come here. One gentleman came, he's a long-standing Abhyasi, sincere Abhyasi. He fell at my feet, crying his heart out and sobbing like a child. Said, Daaji, please save me. My wife is leaving me and my in-laws are suing me for no reason. And now, if you go on into all this, how one person's karma affects the other person's karma and affects the other person's and delays the whole process here, it's very complex situation. We just cannot say my karma affected my destiny. Somebody else's karma can also affect my destiny. Just as when we observe the life of Lord Rama, for example, we all are familiar with Ramayana so well. Rishi Vasistha, Rishi Vishwamitra, and many sages, they said that this is a perfect match between the Sita and Rama, perfect match. I mean, nothing wrong can ever happen to their life. So, moreover, they have no karmas from the previous life. When we understand Avtara incarnation, Lord Rama had no previous karma that he had to suffer so much. Mother Sita also did not have so much of baggage from her past because she had no past. So how can she have karma to make her suffer like that? So karma is not the only thing that makes one go through a certain type of destiny, but there are other influencers. When we see the influence of Mother Kaikeyi and how she was influenced by Adasi Manthara, and how Kaikeyi changed or rather influenced the mind of Dashrath, though Dashrath was in favor that elder son should not go into forest. Yet he had to honor that under the honor of what they call Raja Dharma. He had to fulfill his promise. Anyway, so some person's crazy desires can influence other person's life altogether. For centuries, for millennia, it has been happening in our land, where father has already decided or mother has already decided the fate of their children. My daughter will marry so-and-so in the village or next village, though the daughter is in love with someone else. Now what happens there? The destiny of many people gets changed there. When a girl loves someone, that someone also loves that girl, she would not marry, she could not marry. She has to marry someone else. Neither she will be happy, nor the person she's going to marry will be happy. The person whom she was loving is not going to be happy. So how many people suffer because of wrong decisions? And that is also influenced by somebody else. So we are not the victim of our own karmas, but we are the victims of so many karmas. So many influencers are there who can change our destiny. And it's very difficult also whether I am going through the karma from my past or whether I'm creating new karmas in the present. When there was no, let's say, air flying, few generations back, there were no flights. How are you able to fly now despite the fact that you had no karmas to fly? So these are new things that we are creating as we travel into the future. Yogis, and especially people who meditate, they're able to perceive things ahead of time, especially when our consciousness gets so well developed that we are able to differentiate between cause and effect. Whether what I'm doing now, is it because of my past, or is it something I'm totally creating a new version? One way of saying that when I meditate, when I follow ardently my guru with a lot of bhakti in my heart, am I creating a new destiny? Is this destiny as per what I wish? Am I not changing my destiny just because I am following yogic path? Yoga is the only way that can help us change our destiny to a desirable goal. Rest of the other things, what is yoga? Means yogya, and what is ayogya? It's against yoga. Even if it is fulfilled, it will take you to a different goal, which will not help us evolve. That's why it is ayogya. Yogya is one that is in line with fulfilling your yoga state of merger. So to answer you in a long way, karma, yes. Karma is always influencing us, be it yours or be it someone else's.
Thank you, Daaji, and thank you, Murugadas ji, for joining us, and thank you, Brother Lingaswamy, for bringing him and asking him to join this session. Really appreciate it. I'll quickly take a question from all the people who've joined us from actually across the world. We have people who joined us from Brazil and other countries as well, a number of corporate leaders as well from Deloitte and KPMG and CEO Club of India. So I'll start off with the first question from Mr. Ajay Chaudhary ji. Please go ahead. Please unmute yourself and just tell us for how long you've been practicing heartfulness.
Daaji Pranam. And I cannot express in my words. I'm very fortunate to talk to you, and it was my wish from last 7 years. I started practicing way back in 2011, but due to some reason I stopped practicing from 2000 till 2017. And something happened with me. I met with my preceptor once again, who is my brother. I started doing the 2000 from 2008, and immediately I took the 3 sitting. I visited Kanha ashram for Babuji's Bhandara in the month of April 2017. And since then, I've been practicing. I'm actually going through many phases in my life, and whenever I do something, I couldn't get into why I'm doing this. मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ ये सब चीजें, मतलब why I'm into this life and why I'm doing this. क्या मेरा जीवन का उद्देश्य यही है, मेरे को यही करना है. और फिर मेरे को एक जो सोर्स जो आप बोलते हैं उनका ख्याल आता है कि तेरे को कुछ नहीं करना, करवाने वाला तो वो है जो करवा रहा है. तो मैं बहुत डायलेमा में चलता हूँ, कभी ये सोचता हूँ, कभी ये सोचता हूँ, और मेरा बहुत कंफ्यूजिंग स्टेट हो जाता है माइंड का. तो मेरे को दादी कुछ रास्ता बताइए इससे बाहर निकलने के लिए. और मैं अपना जीवन क्या कान्हा में व्यतीत करना चाहता हूँ. ये मेरा एक ड्रीम है कि मैं मतलब वहाँ कान्हा में ही मतलब पूरा जीवन बिता दूंगा वहाँ पे जाकर के. अब पता नहीं डेस्टिनी में वो है, जाऊंगा, मिलूंगा, नहीं मिलूंगा, पता नहीं मेरे को कुछ भी.
Thank you, Ajay ji, for your question.
Ajay ji, Kanha should not become escape location. Kanha is a place where we practice rigid practice. Though many people who stay in Kanha, they've become quite relaxed, but the environment is like that. Instead of becoming extremely disciplined and extremely refined, we let go of our protective wings of consciousness, protective wings of remembrance, why I'm here, what is my goal in life. how to fulfill that goal. What is preventing me from achieving that goal? These are very simple things to address when the goal is in sight and you have courage in the heart. That's why many saints across all the cultures, especially in India, they say, once you have determined that the way forward is going towards godliness, I'm not saying God, I'm saying towards godliness, towards divinity, imbibing those qualities, you need some level of courage. Godliness means, to my heart, more loving, being truthful, being compassionate, being kind, and so many other great things we talk about in a person. But we sometimes say, oh, if I become too kind, if I become too compassionate and too loving, people will take advantage of me. So let them take advantage. What would you lose? How much can you give up or give away? And moment you are on this path of divinity, He's also there to look after you. So we have to develop this guts, courage, that come what may. I am following this path of divinization. At any cost, I shall achieve it. Let's develop this sort of courage. Let not small things toss us here and there. I would request Sri Sahasrabuddhaji also, who has been so experienced in this life journey, how to make decisions when you are in such a confused state. Sir.
दाजी आपने तो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से बताया है. Daaji ji has already said, you look inside your heart and the right decision will come, because if you are meditating, the decisions cannot be wrong. You will become kind, you will become compassionate. You will have all those qualities which are necessary to overcome the problems that are coming in your way. And that's why we must all not run away from the problems, but take them head on and then continue with the task that is tasked for us by the Almighty, and then continue our journey. और इसमें बहुत कठिनाइयाँ आ सकती हैं, बहुत सारे डिफिकल्टीज आ सकती है, बट हमारा जब कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल हाई होता है, so when we think that I'm going to achieve it, come what it may, take it to the heart, and I'm sure you will all solve the problems of yourself, no matter how difficult they are.
Thank you so much for that advice. Yes. I will now just hand it over to Sister Nivedita, who's of course our coordinator for Heartfulness Campus, and she's an educationist herself, and she has been doing so much work to get all of these universities and youth ambassadors and college students join us in this session. So I'll hand it over to her to run the interaction from now.
Thank you so much, Pragya. Good evening to all my dear lovely students who have joined from all over India. Pranam Daaji, and a big hearty pranam to Dr. Anil Sarsour, sir, the chairman of All India Council for Technical Education, who has brought in a lot of transparency, credibility, and accountability to AICT, which is the apex body, the regulatory body for engineering, architecture, management, pharmacy, fine arts, colleges all over India. So thank you so much, Anil sir, for joining us for this session. And all our students, that is all youth ambassadors, are waiting to ask questions to both you and dear Daaji. So I would start this session. We have first question here coming out from Mr. Vivek Kumar. He's from Government Polytechnic College, Ranchi, Jharkhand. So is Vivek here? Can you unmute yourself? Yes, Mr. Vivek.
Pranam Daaji. Pranam Anil ji. I really very happy to see you in front of me and blessed for this opportunity. My name is Vivek Kumar and I am from Government Polytechnic Ranchi, Jharkhand. Actually, I have joined Heartfulness 1 month ago and I am practicing all tools regularly. Many people, even my family members, say that meditation it it will disconnect me from family, friends, and my society, and says that, and I am get really confused. And my question is that how much truth in there in words of these peoples, please.
So,
Vivek ji, you are from Jharkhand and you have asked a question where because of meditation you will get cut away from the families, the people who in and around you are telling. But it's exactly the other way around. You will not only start loving your own family members, but a larger family. That is the society, the people around you, entire people from your state, Jharkhand, as well as from the whole nation, as well as the whole world. Our philosophy from ancient times talks about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. So when you meditate, your expansiveness will increase. And it is not that you will cut off from the family, you will get more bonded, but at the same time, you will think about the whole society. Your emotional quotient, your social quotient, your spiritual quotient will increase, leading to much better in your life. And therefore, do not get worried about what someone here and there will tell. Focus your attention on what you are doing. You are on the right path. All the very best wishes to you.
lovely. Thank you, sir. When my father also used to get worried about my starting the meditation, he worried for 2 years. But then one day we were discussing. One fine evening, we were sitting, witnessing the sunset. Both of us were very quiet at that moment. And suddenly I asked him a question. Father, tell me the best experience you so far had in your life, a religious experience that you would like to convey to your grandchildren. Because I see you practice this worship mornings and evenings and so many times. He would wake up at 4 in the morning. His puja would continue long time into the day, and in the evening also he would offer puja. So I asked him, is there anything worth describing, conveying to your grandchildren? Of course, at that time I was not married. He kept on scratching his head. Bete, mere paas kuch kehne ka nahi hai. I'm yet to experience. My heart is craving for experience. But ये पूजा पाठ से अभी तक मेरे को कुछ अनुभव नहीं हुआ है. मैंने बोला, then why don't you come and meditate and see if it can help you? तो नजदीक में हमारे एक प्रिसेप्टर महोदय थे नवसारी में, वहाँ ले गए उनके पास देवराम भाई चावड़ा. उन्होंने सिटिंग दिया और आधी ही सिटिंग में वो रोने लगे बच्चे की तरह, literally crying, and I was witnessing my father crying. कि ऐसा अनुभव के लिए मैं जीता रहा हूँ, जब बूढ़ा हुआ हूँ तब ये अनुभव हो रहा है. सिर्फ मैंने पूरी जिंदगी बर्बाद कर दी, यहाँ गया वहाँ गया, बहुत कुछ किया लेकिन अनुभव नहीं किया. और हम देखते हैं मेरे दोस्त लोग जो है मेडिटेशन जो करते थे, हमारे साथ कॉलेज में पढ़ते थे, उनकी फैमिली को आज देखते हैं 30-40 साल के बाद, और जो नहीं करते हैं वो फैमिली को देखते हैं, तो बहुत फर्क है. लोग डरते हैं कि शायद वो सन्यासी न हो जाए, इतना ही तो डर है. लेकिन जो ईश्वर के प्रेम में डूब जाता है, उनको सारी दुनिया भाती है, सारी दुनिया के प्रति उनको प्रेम हो जाता है, क्योंकि कोई भी जगह ऐसी नहीं है कि जहाँ ईश्वर नहीं है। उनको सभी जगह, सभी जनों में, सभी वृक्षों में, सभी पानी में, सभी नदियों में, पहाड़ों में, कुत्ते में भी ईश्वर दिखाई देता है। इसलिए हमारे हिंदू धर्म में सबकी पूजा करते हैं, बंदर भी करते हैं, कुत्ते की भी पूजा करते हैं, पेड़ की भी पूजा करते हैं। लेकिन पहुंचने के पहले करते हैं, इसलिए गलती हो जाती है। जब तक हम वहां तक नहीं पहुंचते और उसके पहले हम पूजा करना शुरू कर देते हैं तो वहां गलती हो जाती है, क्योंकि अनुभव होगा ही नहीं। क्योंकि अनुभव से ही हम अपनी फीलिंग्स एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं। जिस ईश्वर के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं उसका अनुभव नहीं किया कि पहाड़ में भी है, आकाश में भी है, पत्थर में भी है, प्रीमैच्योर प्रेम लग जाता है तो गलत हो जाता है। बाद में अनुभव नहीं होता है तो बाद में ऐसा लगता है कि ये सब मैं अभी तक किया गलत है, उसमें विश्वास भी नहीं आता है। विश्वास तभी आएगा जब हम उस चीज का अनुभव करेंगे, सभी चीज प्यारी होने लगती है, सभी, क्योंकि सभी चीज में ईश्वर दिखाई देता है। हम बेभागु नहीं बनना चाहते जिंदगी की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से। इनफैक्ट जो मेडिटेशन कर रहे हैं वो माँ बाप की, रिश्तेदारों की, फैमिली की अच्छी सेवा करते हैं, और करनी भी चाहिए। अपने ही नहीं, दूसरों की भी सेवा करनी है। और ये कब होएगा? जब हम हमारा दिल साफ रखेंगे, कुछ स्वार्थ भाव नहीं होएगा, लोभ नहीं होएगा, मोह नहीं होएगा, सिर्फ प्रेम रहेगा। सिर्फ फैमिली एनवायरनमेंट में सिर्फ मोह रहता है, प्रेम नहीं रहता है। आध्यात्मिक आदमी मोह से वंचित है, लेकिन प्रेम से उसको कोई खतरा नहीं है, क्योंकि सब प्रेमी हो जाते हैं उनके लिए। तो चिंता का कोई विषय नहीं है भाई। अपने माँ बाप को भी समझाओ, ढंग से करो, और देखो कहाँ ले जाता है रास्ता।
थैंक यू दाजी फॉर दैट वंडरफुल आंसर। तो मुझे जरूर लगता है विवेक को अपना जवाब मिल गया है, वो भी एक नहीं दो दो बड़े महान लोगों से। अनिल सर, दिल सर ने भी आपको बता दिया है। तो ईश्वर के प्रेम में डूबे रहो, बस सही रास्ता तुम्हें मिल ही जाएगा। सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट विवेक। हमारा अगला प्रश्न आ रहा है शुभम धामेलिया से, फ्रॉम नालसार यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ लॉ हैदराबाद। इज शुभम हियर?
Hi, yes, I am. Hi.
Yes, yes. You can on your camera, please.
Yes, I hope I am visible and audible. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. Namaste, Daaji. Namaste, Anil sir. My name is Shubham Dhamelia. I am from Rajkot, Gujarat, and I am a law student at Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad. I wanted to know how to avoid the trap of external validation. When we get approval from someone about anything, we get a dopamine hit. And then we try to find it everywhere. Like sometimes even we change our behavior or values for that. Like it sounds like we are slave to our hormones. What are your thoughts on this? How to control it? And in what manner can the practice of meditation help us become a stronger individual mentally? Also, a quick follow-up to this is that how to practice self-love. So in summary, I have two questions: how to avoid external validation and how to practice self-love. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, validation from others, especially from our loved ones, encourages us tremendously when we are on the right track, right? When we are on a wrong track and validation is not there, that's when the confusion comes. Oh, my father is against me all the time. He says no, no, no to everything. And your professors also might not agree. Your close friend circle also may not agree on certain decisions. So your dopamine level will also go down and say, oh no, to hell with all these opinions. Let me figure out myself. Now, Yesterday, we were talking about how energy is indestructible, but it changes the form. Heat into cold, heat into electricity, electricity into whatever form you like to have. When it is connected to air condition, brings cool air. When it's connected to a heater, brings hot air, and things like that. Now, when the energy, so-called emotional energy, stirred up by dopamine, it can manifest in many ways, depending upon my heart's condition. For example, if my preconditioning, if my upbringing, if my samskaras, if my previous impressions are such that I'm afraid of dog, and little howling of the dog or barking of the dog can scare the hell out of me and drop the dopamine level. Now, if I had the proper understanding that dogs are not such animals, and if you are a dog lover, the same response will not be there, but you will be so much elated, so much joyful. So my conditioning of my heart changes the way this dopamine or serotonin or other hormones gets excreted in my system, right? When people are so much captivated when they see a beautiful girl, for example, and they can't control their hormones, what happens then? They take wrong steps. This control also is in your hands based on the training that you have received from family, friends, and environment. If you are a bad company and you are always watching bad movies, which you should not be seeing, even ugliest lady will be attracted, attract you, and you say, wow, my day is done today. So it's all this training prepares us to respond in either positive way or the negative way. So validation. Whenever our loved ones validates and say, yes, you are on the right track, of course. When your heart also agrees, your mind also agrees, then it's the most beautiful thing. It is when we are doing wrong things and you want unhealthy validation from others, that's a wrong step. Now, when it comes to self-love, people misunderstand self-love versus selfishness. It is not selfishness to love your being. You see, the way many people ask this question of soul, is there a soul? Is there God? Whether you call it soul or jiva or so, Atman, it really doesn't matter. The fact is, there is some life force that keeps me going. It's with me since my birth, and it will continue to be. That entity is with me. I have to be grateful to that entity who is dwelling within me. I must love that entity. Without that entity, I cannot even ask any question. I cannot even hear. Imagine, Subham, tonight, this life force decides and says, Subham, goodbye. I'm leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning. Detaching itself from the body. राम राम हो जाएगा जी राम राम થઈ જાય ને ભાઈ તો રાજકોટનો છું એટલે તારા લાડવા બી થઈ જાય ને રામ રામ બી થઈ જાય તો આવી વસ્તુને આપણે પ્રેમ કરવો અયોગ્ય નથી એ જ વસ્તુ પ્રેમ કરવા જેવી છે instead of that what we do we break our heads in wrong places the God who gives me life he is not in Dwarka. The entity that gives me life, it's not in Kashi or Makkah or Jerusalem. It's within me. It is through meditation that we experience the presence of that entity more and more. When we are on a right track for the evolution of that soul, when it understands that the embodied entity is also cooperating in my evolution, it will shower so much of peace. Whenever you meditate, that I'm meditating for evolution of my being, I'm looking after that entity. I love that entity who gives me life. It will shower more and more grace, more and more contentment. It will shower you so much of love within. Another way of seeing this is whenever we do wrong things, which is not evolutionary or evolution contributory to my soul. In fact, whatsoever I do is detrimental for my soul's progress, then we lose peace of mind. We become so careless, we become irritable, and we become pauper in some way. I don't mean in materialistic world, but from inside, however materialistically be successful, but you'll remain hollow inside because you did not cooperate with the soul's plan. Soul's plan unfolds, and we see that clearly when we meditate. So I hope I was able to answer you clearly. If you still have confusion, ask us. Thank you, sir.
I think.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you
think
very much.
Shubha,
Yes, ma'am, please.
the lecture, I mean the guidance what you got from Daaji today is, I'm sure you're not going to get in any classrooms, neither in practical labs or in the theory class also. So he is actually giving you the real life experience and the way he has evolved as a great leader today in the field of meditation. So I think you really need to work on yourself, meditate, and you'll definitely find all your answers will be within you and you'll get the replies. Thank you, Shubham, for that wonderful question.
Shubham is in Hyderabad, and I welcome you to our Kanha Shanti Vanam. Let us know where you are. So whenever someone comes from Hyderabad, they can give you a ride and bring you and take you back.
Definitely. મને આવવાની બહુ જ ઈચ્છા છે. In fact, I have received training from few of your trainers in Hyderabad, and a course conduct Sai Meghna અને અક્ષય નાગપાલ કરીને છે. અક્ષય નાગપાલ lawyer છે, partner છે, and Sai Meghna is also lawyer from Hyderabad. So they had taken a course in our university. Sorry, please say.
Meghna Ben ne kecho ye lay aapse.
Done. Like, in fact, she only insisted ki I should join this session. It should be great. So આને બહુ સારું, મને બહુ રિલેટેબલ લાગ્યું. તમે મને બધું સમજાવ્યું હોય, and definitely હું ઇન્કોર્પોરેટ કરીશ લાઈફમાં.
આપણે ઘરે આવજો ને ખીચડી ખાશે બસ.
પાકો. Done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So my next question is to Anil sir. We have Abhishek Rishi from KR Mangalam University. He would like to ask question to Anil sir. Abhishek Rishi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Namaste, Daaji.
Yes. Yeah.
Namaste, Anil sir.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is from Anil sir. That being a college student, what education I am receiving from college, or not only in my college, I have also heard from various colleges. The education we are getting in college is not directly related to our practical field of professional field, sir. How do we connect our theoretical knowledge to practical knowledge, which is very necessary in today's life, sir, which will really encourage us if we get the practical knowledge with our theoretical knowledge? Because, sir, when we do not have practical knowledge, we find very low in getting the professional life, and we don't feel free to work there as we do not have any practical knowledge, sir. So how do you see this, the theoretical knowledge and the practical knowledge importance in college?
I think you have
Thank
raised
you.
a very important aspect of education. Education cannot be merely theoretical one, which is imparted through the textbooks, and students also in the classroom, they note down notes, remember, and then in the examination, write those answers, and then probably get good marks also. But the real life situations and how this knowledge is going to be useful, unless it is also taught to you in the schools and colleges, that education is not going to be fruitful and helpful. And that is why some of the ideas which have come in education now are about experiential learning, or what we call as internships. So you go outside beyond the four walls of the institution and look around what are those challenges, problems that are there in the society, in the villages, in the slums. And my education, whatever subject I'm learning, whether it is engineering, whether it is medicine, whether it is architecture, pharmacy, or even economics, psychology, social, how can I use that content of education that I have learned to the well-being of the society? I think that is very significant. And that's why students have to be taken outside the college premises, maybe in the form of the program which we are all running called Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, that every college is asked to at least take 5 villages as their part, that their development is your role. हम जो दत्तक बोलते हैं ना, दत्तक लेना. So if you do that, and in batches, if you go to the village, you will see the problem that exists there in terms of hygiene, in terms of education of the children over there, in terms of economic conditions of those people, and how my education can help them. ये sensitization जब होना शुरू होगा, तो your education automatically will become holistic. You will start finding solutions to the problems from out of the knowledge that you are gaining. And that is where we call it as application-oriented experiential learning. And this is what was happening earlier in the past, in our ancient times from the Gurukula system, or during Nalanda, Takshila universities, when students from all over the world were coming to India to learn. This was all not theoretical alone, but theory with practice. And this practice will come through a variety of ways. And one of the ways is also meditation. And therefore, if you are really keen on that, we must develop such mechanisms in our institutions, be it your faculty, your vice chancellor. We must ask them to attend such kind of programs through which they will get motivated and then provide such kind of education to the younger generation. That is what is required.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful answer. I think you almost covered the wide spectrum of the educational system here in your answer. I would like to ask Daaji, would we like to have 1 or 2 more questions, or could we stop it here? And I mean, depend on you, Daaji. Would you like to take 1 or 2 more questions, or we can?
Let's take one and then we meditate.
Okay, okay. So I have a question from Arav Sangvi from Osmania Medical College. From significant, she wants to ask the question. Arav Sangvi, are you there?
Namaste,
Yes.
Daaji. I'm
Yes.
Arav Shangavi from Kolkata Center, and sorry, I'm in Manipal Institute of Technology at Manipal. I'm pursuing my Bachelor's of Technology there, Daaji. My question, Daaji, was that what is the significance of the newest addition, the latest addition to the cleaning technique, and how does it help us more in achieving towards the goal of meditating and cleaning? Thank you.
Which cleaning method are you talking about?
The newest method, Daaji, where we assume that there's a golden liquid flowing through our back, and we focus on the hip joints as well, and the liquid flows through the entire skeletal system of our upper bodies.
Okay. As usual, we sit with this suggestion. And before we even begin the process of cleaning, Antahkaran Suddhi, as we call in our traditional language, Antahkaran Suddhi, Antarik Suddhi, internal cleaning. What are we cleaning first of all? What is the outcome of this cleaning? My expectation is that I should become pure and simple as a result of this process of cleaning. And in order to arrive at purity, what should I be doing? Impurities should go from my system. And in order to arrive at simplicity, complexity should go. So I sit with this very fine sankalpa, with a very soft suggestion to my heart that all complexities and impurities are going away from my system. Settle down with this much thought that all complexities and impurities are going away from my system. Now think from where they are going. From the entire back, from top of my head till the tailbone. Settle down with this idea. Imagine how they are going. They're going away in the form of smoke. Now you combine these three ideas that complexities and impurities are going from the backside in the form of smoke. This much you can do. You get going with this idea and imagine that there's a golden liquid in my pelvic area. And that's all. And continue with this idea and see how it can accelerate the entire process of cleaning. Thank you. Thank you. It was a very practical question. Thank you. Now we'll, as usual, meditate for a few minutes. So let's all start. Please start meditation. That's all.
Thank you, Daaji. I would request Pragya to kindly take over.
Thank you, Daaji, for a wonderful meditation session. And thank you, Anilji. It was so lovely to get this insightful insights about the education system and also all the guidance you've provided the youth today that joined in. I particularly enjoyed all the advice you gave. So thank you so much for joining us. And I would just like to remind everyone to please, just write your experience in your diaries, whatever you experienced during the meditation session. And we look forward to, of course, seeing you at the 9 a.m. meditation session tomorrow, and then again in the evening at 8:30 p.m. for this Dil Se session. Please do take the time to reconnect with this condition that Daaji has blessed us with, so that when we come tomorrow, we can really build on this and take it forward. So thank you so much. Thank you, Daaji. Good night, everyone. Sleep well.